إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وسلم يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. مرحبا بكم جميعا أهلا وسهلا. We continue with the works of Al-Imam Al-Shawkani rahimahullahu ta'ala, dealing with the reasons and the causes of fanaticism and that which causes people to leave off being just. In the last class, we covered the fifth reason, and it is the difficulty of returning back to the truth after believing the opposite of it or speaking with the opposite of it. If you find that a student of knowledge or a person who gives fatwa or offers books or who debates with other than himself or debate with others, the person may make a statement regarding a matter and that statement becomes well known upon him. But then it becomes apparent that the statement was incorrect. At times it is difficult for this individual to leave off the statement that he has made, that has become famous upon him, to return back to that which is in opposition to this statement. And Imam Al-Shawkani rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentioned that there is no reason for this, meaning this difficulty in returning back to the truth, except that the individual prefers the dunya over the deen. This is the main cause. The person prefers the dunya over the deen, and the shaitan beautifies him and entices him. And if he was to leave off his statement, his original statement, and then return back to the truth, at that point to diminish from his status and take away from his level, and is going to scar his image. and remove him from his position of leadership. This, which comes from the shaitan, of enticing the individual with these evil enticements, this is falsehood. As we covered the statement of Umar bin Khattab radiyallahu anhu, when he stated, وَمُرَاجَعَةُ الْحَقِّ خَيْرٌ مِنَ التَّمَادِي فِي الْبَاطِلِ. And the returning back to the truth is better than procrastination upon falsehood. Know, my brothers and sisters in Islam, that returning back to the truth is a virtue. Is a virtue for the people when they leave off their desires or their personal views to that which is in accordance to Qala Allah, Qala Rasul, or Qala Sahaba. There is no belittlement in that. Barakallah. Rather, this is what raises a person with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That a person humbles himself for the sake of Allah and acknowledges his wrong. And he leaves it off, complying with that which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said. This is the virtue. This is not belittlement. And those who think that this is belittlement, then without a doubt, these individuals have been affected with the whispers of the shaitan and the enticement of the shaitan, beautifying for him his wrong, beautifying for him the status that he thinks he has by remaining upon the falsehood, or that he wants to keep. If he remains upon falsehood and doesn't expose to the people that he made an error. Be aware of being a person who is an arrogant, argumentative fanatic. And be aware of being a person who is ignorant with corrupt understanding and corrupt false comprehension of the affairs. Rather be a person who returns back to the truth, and he is with the truth, whatever it may be. For this is the methodology of the Salaf, holding to the truth, clinging to the truth, and not leaving the truth for anything or anyone. For the truth is the lost property of the believer. So we want the truth. And whoever brings to us the truth, even if it is someone who is an enemy to us, even if it is someone who has lesser status than us, or the person is younger than us, or the person's level of knowledge is lesser than ours, we accept the truth that is presented. And this leads to the sixth reason for people leaving off being fair. And that is أن يكون الذي معه الحق صغير السن أو قليل العلم والشهرة. that the one who has within the truth, he is young in age, or he is lesser in knowledge or in fame. Imam al-Shawkani rahimahullah ta'ala states, وَمِنَ الْآفَاتِ الْمَانِعَةِ عن الرجوع إلى الحق أن يكون المتكلم بالحق حدث السر بالنسبة إلى من يناظره أو قليل العلم أو الشهرة في الناس، والآخر بعكس ذلك، فإنه قد تحمله حمية الجاهلية والعصبية الشيطانية على التمسك بالباطل ألفة منه عن الرجوع إلى قول من هو أصغر منه سنا أو أقل منه علما أو أقصى شهرة، ظنا منه أن في ذلك عليه ما يحط منه وينقص ما هو فيه. وهذا الظن فاسد، وإن الحط والنقص إنما هو في التصميم على الباطل، والعلو والشرف والرجوع إلى الحق بيد من كان وعلى أي وجه حصل. Imam al-Shawkani rahimahullah, he mentioned that from the evils and others which prevent the person from returning back to the truth, that the one who speaks with the truth is young in age in relation to the one who he debates, or he is lesser in knowledge or in fame amongst the people. But the other is the opposite, meaning the one who this youth is presenting the truth to, or the one who has the small amount of knowledge and he's not as famous as the other amongst the people, the one he's presenting the truth to is the one who is older in age, or the one who has more knowledge, or he is the one who is the well-known individual amongst the people. So because this individual, he's older in age, he has more knowledge, he's the one who is famous amongst the people, he doesn't accept the truth from that youth, or the one who is lesser in knowledge than him, or the one who does not have fame on the level that he has fame. فإنه قد تحمله حمية الجاهلية. That which may cause him to do this is the fanaticism of Jahiliyyah, meaning that which may cause him to reject the truth that the youth has presented, or that the one who has lesser knowledge has presented, or the one who's not as famous, the unknown, that which he has presented. The fanaticism of Jahiliyyah is what prevents him from accepting the truth, or the devilish partisanship is what prevents him from accepting the truth, and is a cause for him to hold on to that which is falsehood. And this is arrogant from him and obstinate, which prevents him from returning back to the statement of the one who was younger than him in age, or lesser than him in knowledge, or who's not as known as he is. And he thinks that if he was to accept from this individual who is younger than him in age, lesser than him in knowledge, or unknown, that this will diminish from his status, or take from that which he is in of status and virtue in the eyes of the people. Imam Shawkani, he mentioned that this thought of his is corrupt, for the belittlement and the taking away of one's status It is only by way of a person being obstinate upon falsehoods. This is what takes away from a person's status. And having nobility and honor and being raised up, that's found in returning back to the truth by the hands of whoever has the truth, and in any manner that the truth has been attained. We see here from the statement of Al-Imam al-Shawkani, rahimahullah ta'ala, that it is obligatory upon the people to follow that which Allah Azza wa Jal has revealed. So whenever the truth is presented to us, we accept the truth. This is the methodology of Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. This is the way of the Prophet, messengers, alayhi wa salatu wa salam. قال عز وجل اتبعوا ما أنزل إليكم من ربكم ولا تتبعوا من دونه أولياء. Allah, He commands, follow that which has been revealed to you from your Lord, and do not follow other than the awliya. A commandment from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to follow that which has been revealed. For the truth is from Allah, and honor is in following the truth. The truth comes from the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and the honor is in following that truth. And the truth is that which the Sahaba radiallahu anhum ajma'een were upon, and the honor is in following that truth. One must be aware, barakallahu feekum, of allowing these affairs to be obstacles in the way of accepting the truth. For if an individual leaves off the truth knowingly, to follow that which is other than what is in agreement with the Quran and the Sunnah in the way of the Sahaba, then this individual is upon the path of the shayateen. And the path of the shayateen, barakallahu fikum, leads to hell. Why would one sacrifice his position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and jeopardize his position with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to remain noble in the eyes of the people? What is going to happen when the people find out that you've been concealing the truth all of this time? After knowing it, you concealed the truth from the people. What is going to happen then if Allah decrees to expose an individual who is worried about his status and his position? So he denies and rejects that which comes from a person who is lesser than him in knowledge according to his view, or he's not as known as him, or he's younger than him in age. Okay? This is a test for the individual to see if the person is going to submit to the truth, or he's going to prefer that which is dunyawi over that which is dini. When we look at the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he accepted the truth from his Sahaba when he presented it to him. He even if it was against that which he, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, said or did, or held to be the correct view. We covered in the last class the narration of Bukhaari, when the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he made a mistake in the prayer and shortened the prayer. When Bukhaari corrected him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, the Prophet accepted the correction. And he fixed the mistake that was in the prayer. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his status is greater than anyone's status among mankind. Allah has made him the master of the children of Adam. As the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentioned, أَنَا سَيْرُ بِنِي آدَمْ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ وَلَا فَخْرٍ. I am the master of the children of Adam on the day of judgment without any bragging or boasting. So there is no one whose status is greater than the status of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. However, the Prophet did not make that a reason for him not to accept the correct or accept advice. The Prophet Musa alayhi salam advised the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during the ascension to go back to Allah and ask for a decrease in the prayers. And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam took the advice of Musa, although he sallallahu alaihi wasallam is greater than Musa alayhi salam. Although if Musa was alive during this time, Musa alayhi salam would have to follow the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said to Umar ibn Khattab, when Umar ibn Khattab brought to him some pages in the Torah, and he mentioned sallallahu alaihi wasallam, لو كان أخي موسى حيا لا نطيعه إلا أن يتبعني. That if my brother Musa was alive, it would not be fit him to do anything except to follow me. So on the night journey, Musa alayhi salam advised the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to go back to Allah and ask for a decrease in the prayer, and he did it. We have an example in the matter of the trench, of the battle of the trench. The trench that was dug around Medina, that came as a result of advice from Salman al-Farisi, if my memory serves me correct. That came as an advice of Salman al-Farisi, radiyallahu anhu, to build a trench around Medina as a means of protection for the people of Medina. The advice of the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to cut his hair and slaughter his animal, and then the Sahaba will follow. After he commanded them to do so, and they were hesitant, as the scholars mention, not out of disobedience to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but as a means or due to them hoping that Allah would send down other revelations for them to continue on with the rituals of the pilgrimage. But when the Prophet ﷺ went in to his family and expressed what took place, and they advised him, you go and cut your hair and slaughter your animal, and the Prophet did so. And then the Sahaba, they followed immediately after. The point on the shahid from these examples is that the Prophet ﷺ, he took knowledge and the truth from those who were lesser than him in status. So when we don't accept the truth, because we say, well, that individual is unknown. Okay, what does that have to do with the truth that is being presented? or that individual, he doesn't really have any knowledge, he didn't study anywhere. Okay, fine, but what he's saying is the haqq. Or that individual, he's a youth, and I'm an elder. What does that have to do with the truth that's being presented? What does that have to do with the haqq? Musa alayhi salam, when he was leaving with Bani Israel, there is a narration that the pathway became darkened for them. And when this pathway, their pathway became darkened for them, Musa alayhi salam, he questioned as to the reason of this matter. And it was mentioned to Musa alayhi salam that the Prophet Yusuf had took a covenant with the people of Bani Israel, that if they were to leave Egypt, that they would take his body with them, and they would not leave him behind. And there was an older woman, a woman who, she was a Ajuz. She came and mentioned that she knew the grave site of Yusuf alayhi salam. And those other individuals, they didn't know. So she came and said, I will direct you to his grave. However, you have to give me something in compensation for it. And he said, what is this that you want? She said that I be with you in the palace. But Musa, he hated to give that to her. But then Allah revealed to him to give her that which she wanted. So then she took them to a place where the water was not that high in level. And she mentioned, here is the grave of Yusuf, and then they took out his body. And when they took his body out of the grave, then the pathway became illuminated for them. This narration is authentic. It is narrated by Abu Ya'la and Al-Hakim. And it is mentioned in Al-Silsila Al-Sahiha of Al-Imam Al-Albani rahimahullah ta'ala. The point of the shahid from this affair is that here an older woman, an elderly woman in age, Ajuz, addressing the Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And she will not help them until he gives her a promise that he will, or that she will be with him in the paradise. And Musa, he didn't like it. As is mentioned in the narration, فَكَرِهَ أَنْ يُعْتِيَهَا ذَلِكَ. He disliked to give that to her. But then Allah revealed to him to give her that. So her request, barakallahu feekum, or the stance that she took, I could say, Allah Azza wa Jal confirmed her stance and agreed with her stance to the point that He revealed to Musa, give her what she wants. shows, barakallah people, that a person of lesser status can be upon that which is correct, and the one who has a higher status, that their position may be the lesser of the two positions in relation to that which Allah has revealed. We have examples with the Sahaba radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. Abu Musa al-Ashari, he sought permission to enter upon Umar ibn Khattab, but he got no response. He went back. Umar came out and questioned who was that at the door, and it was mentioned Abu Musa al-Ashari, and Umar asked him, why did you leave? And Abu Musa mentioned in the narration where the Prophet ﷺ stated that if you seek the permission 3 times to enter and is not given to you, then return. And Umar said, bring 2 witnesses or I will punish you. And Abu Musa al-Ashari, he brought 2 witnesses to that which he said, and Umar radiallahu anhu, he stated that he was busy with the marketplace, meaning that's why he was not aware of that narration. But he accepted the narration. And it came from someone who was of lesser status than him. So no one has a greater status than Umar ibn Khattab in this ummah, except for the Prophet ﷺ and then Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu. Umar ibn Khattab, after the Prophet ﷺ, is the second greatest Muslim of the Muslim ummah, of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Abu Musa al-Ashari, lesser than him in status. But yet Umar ibn Khattab accepted the narration and acknowledged or spoke with that which explained, which is possibly a reason why he missed out on that narration. أين نحن من هؤلاء السلف? Where are we from the likes of these salaf that accepted the truth? Even in the narration with Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, where the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam placed him in charge of guarding the zakat al-fitr. And the individual came and stole from the zakat al-fitr. And Abu Hurairah called him and said, I'm going to take you to the Messenger of Allah. And he put forth his excuse of why he was stealing. Abu Hurairah let him go. Seen the Prophet the next day. The Prophet said, what did you do with your companion? Abu Hurairah mentioned the matter. The Prophet said he will return. And it happened again the next night. And the same affair took place. The Prophet ﷺ seen in the morning after, what did you do with your companion? Abu Hurairah mentioned what happened. The Prophet said, indeed, he will return. And then the last time, when he got caught stealing, he told Abu Hurairah, I will teach you. And if you recite it at night, you'll have a protection for you until the morning. And he mentioned ayatul kursi. When Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu went to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and mentioned this, the Prophet said, Sadaqaka wa kennahu kadoob. Now he spoke the truth to you, however, he's a habitual liar. So the Prophet confirmed that the shaitan, he spoke the truth. Even though shaitan is an enemy, as Allah mentions, وَلَا تَتَّبِعُوا خُطُوَاتِ الشَّيْطَانِ إِنَّهُ لَكُمْ عَدُوٌّ مُبِينٌ. And do not follow the footsteps of the shaitan. Indeed, he is an open enemy to you. But in this situation here, he spoke the truth, and the Prophet ﷺ acknowledged and confirmed that he spoke the truth. And this is from the greatest enemy to mankind. Now, we do not take from this narration that is allowed to go and seek out the shayateen to learn from it, or use this narration in the manner that the Hizbis use this narration, and the people of innovation, that we can sit with anyone and take the knowledge from them and leave off the doubt. Because Abu Hurairah, he learned from the shaitan. No, We do not understand the narration to be that way. Abu Hurairah was not seeking any knowledge in this situation. Rather, knowledge reached him from the shaitan. So the point is, if knowledge comes to us, and not us going to the enemies or to the people of innovation to seek from them, but they may say something and it reaches us. We don't reject the truth that comes from them because they are the people of innovation or because the person is a disbeliever. The Prophet ﷺ accepted what was mentioned to Aisha radiallahu anha regarding the punishment of the grave from the Jewish woman. The Prophet ﷺ accepted the criticism that came from the Jews regarding some of the Muslims still swearing by other than Allah. The Prophet didn't go to them seeking out knowledge from them, but reached them. It reached him from them a matter of truth. The Prophet accepted it. So the narration of Abu Hurairah and the shaitan is not to be used as the Hizbis use it, saying that we can go amongst the people of innovation and seek knowledge from them and take the good and leave the bad. No, we don't go to the people of innovation to seek knowledge from them. But if a person of innovation happens to say something that is correct and it reaches us, we accept that which is correct, even if it is a matter of criticism of us. A person of innovation may criticize the Salafis and say, some of the Salafis, they have with them such and such. And it's true. We don't deny the truth. Rather, we accept the truth and we fix the mistake. And we continue to refute the people of innovation and that which they are upon the falsehood. But unfortunately, in this day and time, we see this methodology being spread by some, where the people are being cultivated upon, you can't take knowledge, or even if the truth comes, make sure I phrase this correctly, if the truth comes from somebody that's not well known, we don't accept it. If the truth comes from somebody who is young in age, we don't accept it. If the truth comes from somebody who is not known to have a lot of knowledge, we don't accept it. Where is this methodology coming from? This is an obstacle preventing the people from the haqq, especially when the truth is coming from your brothers from Ahl Sunnah. Okay. Your brother may not be as famous as you are. Your brother may not be as knowledgeable as you are. Your brother may not be an individual who is older than you in age. But he's still your brother in Islam and your brother upon the Sunnah. Why prevent the people from accepting the truth that he is presenting? Is it because it goes against what you are upon? And you don't want it to be seen in the eyes of the people that you have made a mistake, or that you have erred in a matter, and the haqq is with someone who is not well known, or the haqq is with someone who is not as knowledgeable as you or older than you in age? This is an obstacle. And it's a shame that we find individuals who are supposed to be propagating the Sunnah being obstacles in the way of the Sunnah, using some of these affairs. America is a big place, and we do not have students of knowledge in every state of America. But yet we find individuals, they're using tactful speech to prevent people from benefiting from their brothers who are also students of knowledge, who are propagating the Quran and the Sunnah to understand what is Kaaba. So they make statements like, only take from those who are well known. And the unspoken word, but which is understood, don't take from those who are not well known. Okay, as the Mashiach mentioned, the scholars are not going to know everybody. The scholars are not going to know everybody. That's number one. Point number two, barakallahu feekum. when you have in these other areas, because Salafy is not restricted to specific areas, but when you have in other areas Salafi communities who may not have a well-known student of knowledge who's well-known to the Mashaykh and the likes, but there is a student of knowledge there who's teaching the people. When you say to the people, only take from the well-known, okay, so what is that community to do? Close their doors and they have to move to a place where the well-known student of knowledge is? What are they to do? Not take from the student of knowledge who's there, who's teaching from the Kitab and the Sunnah with the understanding of the Sahaba? What are they to do? What are these many masajid to do that are in other places other than the places where the well-known students of knowledge are? What are they to do? Because at times, the well-known students of knowledge, they don't go to those other communities because they're busy with their affairs in their communities, and maybe for other excuses they have that Allah knows best. But the reality is that they don't go to those other communities. So now the people who are there in those communities, benefiting the people, teaching the people from the books of the scholars, will you to say, don't take from them because they're not well known? Don't accept the truth from them? Person is teaching from Kitab al-Tawheed with the explanation, Sheikh al-Taymi, Sheikh Salih Fawzan, Sheikh bin Baz and others. Don't take that from him because he's not well known. Don't take that from him because he doesn't have a lot of knowledge. Then you come move to the community or send someone to the community to teach the people. Wallahi, ikhwan, these are obstacles that are being placed on the pathways preventing the people from the truth. And also these are matters from the affairs of Jahiliyyah. Shaykh al-Islam Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah ta'ala, he stated, أن من أكبر قواعدهم الاغترار بالأكثر ويحتجون به على صحة الشيء ويستدلون على بطلان الشيء بغربته وقلة أهله. And from the greatest of the principles of the people of Jahiliyyah is being deceived by the majority and using the majority as a proof for the correctness of a matter and using as a proof for the falsehood or incorrectness of a matter that it is something strange or it is not the majority or the majority position. Barakallahu feekum. The statement or the aspect of using the majority, or we can also fall under this category, those who are well known as a proof in itself. This is a big mistake in the matters of understanding of the religion. Because the truth is not known by numbers. The truth is not known by who's the most famous. The truth is not known by that. Rather, the truth is that which is in accordance to the Kitab and the Sunnah with the understanding of the Sahaba. There is a narration on Abdullah bin Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. He said, لا يكون أحدكم إما يقول أنا مع الناس يوطن أحدكم نفسه على أن يؤمن ولو كفر الناس. Abdullah bin Mas'ud, he said, let not one of you be a yes man. And he says, I'm with the people. rather let him condition, or let one of you condition himself upon believing, even if all of the people disbelieved. وقد ذم سبحانه الأكثرين في غير موضوعه. And Allah has blamed the majority in more than one place. قال الله تعالى وإن تطع أكثر من في الأرض يضلوك عن سبيل الله. And if you were to obey the majority of those in the earth, they will lead you away from the path. They will mislead you away from the path of Allah. قال الله عز وجل وما أكثر الناس ولو حرصت بمؤمنين. Allah says that most of the people will not believe, even if you try your hardest to get them to believe. Allah Azza wa Jal, He mentions, وَقَلِيلٌ مِّنْ عِبَادِيَ الشُّكُورِ, and few from amongst my servants are grateful. We understand from this that the truth is not based upon the majority in itself. Truth is based upon that which is in agreement with the Kitab and the Sunnah. Shaykh Rabi'a, Hafizahullah Ta'ala, he makes a beautiful statement. He said, هناك كلام يقوله العلماء يمكن أن نسميه قاعدة، وهو الرجال يعرفون بالحق ولا يعرف الحق بالرجال. Shaykh Rabi'a Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he stated, there is some speech that the scholars they say, and it is possible that we name it a principle. And it is that the men are known by the truth, and the truth is not known by the men. And the Shaykh goes on to explain the meaning of this principle. He said, لا نقول أنهم على حق إلا إذا وجدنا الحق يؤيدهم ونصوص القرآن والسنة تؤيدهم. We do not say that a group of men or people are upon truth, except in the case where we find that the truth aids them, and the text from the Quran and the Sunnah aids them. And then he went on to mention what is intended by the point that the truth is not known by men. He said, أن تجعل من الرجل هو قناة الوحيدة وتجعله ميزانا ومقياسا للحق، فما يقوله هو الحق وما لا يقوله هو باطل، وما يرفضه هو الباطل وقد يكون حقا، وما يقبله هو الحق وقد يكون على خلاف الأمر باطلا. إذا نحن لا نعرف الحق بالرجال، إنما نعرف الرجال بالحق. Shaykh Rabi'a Hafidhullah Ta'ala, he went on to explain the statement, and the truth is not known by men, meaning that you make a man, or you make the person your only pathway or passageway to the truth, or passageway of knowledge. You make him the scale of what's the truth. Let's pause for a minute. This is from one of the greatest scholars of our time, Shaykh Rabi'a, the bearer of the flag of Yahoo Ta'deel, from the A'imma of Al-Sunnah wal Jama'ah in our time. Listen to his statement. He is criticizing those who make one individual or even a group of individuals to be added to excluding others, although the truth is with the others also. They make one individual to be their passageway. And this individual or group of individuals, these individuals are the scales for the truth. So whatever that person says, then they consider it the truth. And whatever the person don't say, they consider it falsehood. Whatever that person rejects, they consider it falsehood, even though it may be the truth. And whenever he accepts, they consider it to be the truth, even though it may be the opposite of that upon fasting. Therefore, as the Sheikh says, we do not know the truth by the men, but rather that we know the men by the truth. This is from one of the Imams of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah in our time, establishing, barakallah fikum, that the truth is not based upon names and personalities. As the Shaykh mentioned, where we find the truth aiding them, and the text of the Quran and the Sunnah aiding them. This is when we say that a person is upon the truth. Not just because of the person's fame, or just because of the person's age, or just because of the person's level of knowledge, that automatically that person, the truth is with him. But unfortunately, we find some of the people who attribute themselves to Ahl Sunnah, they are cultivated upon this type of understanding, and they are cultivating others upon this type of understanding. And this clearly goes against that which we learn from our ulama. It is mentioned, ومن العجب أن أهل البدع يستدلون على كونهم على الحق بكثرتهم وكثرة أموالهم وجاههم وظهورهم، ويستدلون على بطلان السنة بقلة أهلها وغربتهم وضعفهم، فيجعلون ما جعله النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم دليل الحق وعلامة السنة دليلا على الباطل. فإن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم أخبرنا بقلة أهل الحق في آخر الزمان وغربتهم وظهور أهل البدع وكثرتهم، ولكنهم سلكوا سبيل الأمم في استدلالهم على أنبيائهم وأصحاب أنبيائهم بكثرة أموالهم وأولادهم وضعف أهل الحق. This statement is the statement of Al-Muwaffaq Abu Muhammad Al-Maqdisi, rahimahullah ta'ala. He says, from that which is amazing, the people of innovation use as a proof that they are the people of the truth, their abundance in numbers, and their abundance of wealth, and their status, and them being uppermost or apparent, or those who have the authority. They use it as a proof that they are the people of the truth. And they use as a proof to declare the Sunnah to be falsehood, that the people of the Sunnah are the minority, and that they are the strangers. Or they use their weakness as a proof that they are upon falsehood. So they make that which the Prophet made a proof for the truth and a sign of the Sunnah, they made it to be a proof upon falsehood. For the Prophet ﷺ informed us that the people of the truth will be the minority in the last of times, and that they will be the strangers. And the Prophet ﷺ informed us of the appearance of the people of innovation and their magnitude and number. However, these individuals have traversed upon the path of the nations of the past, and how they use proofs and evidences against their prophets and the companions of their prophets by mentioning the abundance of their wealth or the abundance of their children and the weakness of the people of truth. All of this to show, barakallah people, using these secondary issues or abstract matters, or I should say tangible affairs, instead of using the Quran and the Sunnah as the guidelines to what is truth and what is falsehood, using these other affairs to determine who's upon the truth and who's upon falsehood. This is from the ways of Jahiliyyah. This is from the ways of the people of the past and how they refuted their prophets and messengers and refuted their companions. This is from the ways of the people of innovation. How they refute the people of the Sunnah and go against the people of the Sunnah and try to prove that the people of the Sunnah are upon falsehood and they are upon the truth. We have more numbers than you. We are more famous than you. Our status is greater than yours. We have more wealth than you. Our masjids are bigger than you, and the likes. This is from the affairs of Jahiliyyah. This is from the ways of the kuffar, the ways of the people of innovation. It is not befitting for the people of the Sunnah, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, Salafiyun, Khaleefah Mansura, it is not befitting that we fall into this despicable methodology of using the likes of these things to prove that the truth is with us and not with other than us. It is sufficient for us to say Allah said, the Messenger said, the Sahaba said, and this is what we are on in our stance on this matter from the affairs. So if Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah fall into a dispute, how is the dispute to be handled? How do we know the truth is falsehood? Are we going to say, well, those brothers are more famous, so the truth has to be with them? Or those brothers, the majority are with them, so the truth has to be, or those brothers, they have the biggest masjid, so the truth has to be with them? لا يا إخوان وأخوات. قدر الله عز وجل says, فإن تنازعتم في شيء فردوه إلى الله والرسول. If you differ in iman, refer it back to Allah and the Messenger. Why refer it back to Allah and the Messenger? Because the truth is there. And Allah mentions this statement after saying what? يا أيها الذين آمنوا أطيعوا الله وأطيعوا الرسول أولي الأمر منكم. O you who believe, obey Allah and obey the Masjid and those in authority from amongst you. فإن تنازعتم في شيء, if you differ in anything, meaning you and those in authority, it's possible that you can differ with those in authority. What are you supposed to do? فردوه إلى الله والرسول. It's possible that the people of the Sunnah may differ in the matter. What are we supposed to do? فردوه إلى الله والرسول. Return it back to Allah and the Messenger, because here's the truth. Returning the matter back to Allah and His Messenger, that's where the isma is, the protection from falling into error. Allah didn't say, return it back to those who are the most famous amongst you. Return it back to those who have the most wealth from amongst you. Return it back to the ones who have the biggest community. No. Return it back to Allah and the Messenger. But who are the ones who hold the knowledge of the Kitab and the Sunnah? The ulama. The ulama. I was in a gathering, a private sitting with some of the Mashaykh from them, Sheikh Abdullah al-Najmi, Sheikh Sulaiman al-Bukhari, Sheikh Muhammad Aqur, and there were others from students of knowledge who were present. And one of the things that was mentioned by Sheikh Sulaiman al-Bukhari, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala, is that a problem that we have amongst the Salafis is that we do not return matters back to the scholars who are the ones who are qualified to deal with the matters. And when individuals who are not scholars go to try to handle these affairs, which they are not qualified to handle, this is where the problems increase and they continue on. Returning back to the ulama who know Qala Allah, Qala Rasul, this is the methodology, because going back to them, we're not going back to them for who they are as people or what their names are or what region they're from. We are returning back to them because they are the ones who hold and carry what Allah said and what the Messenger said. So even in this matter, it's still not the personality why we're returning back to a scholar. It's what they possess of the knowledge of the deen is why we return back. Ask the people of knowledge when you don't know. Look how Allah describes them, the people of knowledge. So it shows that we're going back to them to ask them and to refer the matters back to them because they are the people of knowledge. So the matter is still returning back to that truth, not the personality, not being known and famous. It's the matter of the truth. We have, barakallahu fikum, a statement from Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala. He stated, لو فرض أن علمنا أن الناس لا يتركون المنكر ولا يعترفون بأنه منكر لم يكن ذلك مانعا من إبلاغ الرسالة وبيان العلم. قال ذلك لا يسقط وجوب الإبلاغ ولا وجوب الأمر والنهي. He said, if we were to mandate or to say for sure that we know that the people will not leave off evil, nor will they acknowledge that it is evil, that is not an obstacle. An obstacle in the way of conveying the message and clarifying the knowledge. Rather, that does not remove the obligation of conveying the knowledge, nor does it remove the obligation of commanding the right and forbidding the wrong. And I say this as I mentioned the statement of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah ta'ala as an advice to the people who are being oppressed and are being warned against unjustly, and who are not being accepted by the people because of these unjust warnings and the likes. Do not allow that to stop you. Do not allow that to stop you from conveying the truth, from conveying the message. Even if nobody accepts the message from you, it is still upon you to convey the truth. It is still upon you to clarify the knowledge. For the people accepting or rejecting, or as Ibn Taymiyyah states, the people not leaving off evil and not acknowledging the evil, that's not an excuse to abandon the obligation of conveying the knowledge and commanding the right and forbidding the wrong. Regardless of what the people do, what the people say, we still have to fulfill our duty and responsibility of commanding the right and forbidding the wrong with the conditions and conveying the knowledge with the mannerisms of conveying the knowledge to the people. As for what the people are doing of oppression, what the people are doing of oppression and being obstacles in the way of some of their brothers conveying the knowledge and teaching the people their deed, well, right, that's on them. That's upon them. And they have to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that. For those who convey knowledge to people and you were rejected because you're not famous, or you were rejected because you're younger in age than the individual, or you were rejected because you don't have more knowledge than the person you were conveying something to, don't let that stop you from doing what Allah has commanded you to do. And once you have done what Allah has commanded you to do, khalas. people, whether it is positive or negative, to affect us carrying out our duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we do what we are commanded to do. Seeking the face of Allah. We do what we are commanded to do, seeking the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, following the way of the Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Inshallah ta'ala, let's stop at this point. Whatever is correct, the praise is for Allah Azza wa Jalla alone, and whatever is incorrect, it is for myself. وسبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك